Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. All praises to Allah. We send peace and salutations upon Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Welcome back to our program Ahlan Akhi with me, Samih Jad. And it's time for the nasiha for today. And today actually we are honored to be hosting Fadrat al-Shaykh Dr. Imtiyaaz Isaac Al-Azhari. And Fadrat al-Shaykh will be speaking to us today about the future of Islamic finance. Fadrat al-Shaykh is representing Madina Institute. And let's welcome him joining us via Zoom. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa Shaykh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
ما شاء الله فتح الله عليك كيف الأحوال؟
الحمد لله نحن في نعمة يا سيدي.
الحمد لله الحمد لله. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and accept from you. Allahumma ameen ya Rabb al-Alameen. Fadil Shaykh, speak to us about this event that's going to be happening inshallah, and also about the future of Islamic finance in South Africa.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبه نستعين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي ثم أما بعد. First and foremost, we thank and we praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our nourisher, cherisher, sustainer, the provider, the omnipotent, and thereafter we send the choicest of salutations, salams on the best of creation, our role model, our chain of transmission, our beloved messenger Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, his pure household, his companions. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to shower the same salutations and blessings upon us all. Ameen ya Rabb al-Alameen. So the idea of the future of Islamic finance in South Africa will be presented by the BA3 students of the Madina Institute. Our final year students are studying a module currently in Usul al-Fiqh. And one of the topics that they chose as their final assessment for their final year was the topic of Islamic finance. However, the topic of Islamic finance is one of those topics that the student of ilm and the seeker of knowledge would come across ultimately when studying the largest spectrum of Islamic jurisprudence. And we know that the classical manuals of Islamic jurisprudence could be viewed in 3 to 5 different chapters. And those aspects is ultimately how the jurist and the student of law views a fiqh manual today, which comprises of namely the chapter of ibadat, which we refer to as the acts of worship. Secondly, the second aspect then tackled by the jurist is financial transactions and other mu'amalat and other interactions. And this also obviously consisting of Kitab al-Fara'id, which is inheritance, Kitab al-Wasaya, speaking about the bequest, and also tackling the Kitab al-Jinayat, namely the criminology or the penal codes and discretionary punishments. And then finally ending off with Kitab al-Aqdiyah, which is the book of jury. So the interest of our final year students was certainly going to be Kitab al-Mu'amalat or Kitab al-Buyu' as we know it in our Islamic tradition. However, the financial contracts that are discussed within the classical manuals, such as Kifayat al-Akhyar, the Matin of Abu Suja', is a standard process that the student and the jurist undergoes in order to train them how to interact and work with the contemporary and new arising financial contracts. And in our tradition, Tamwil al-Islami, as we are translating it here, Islamic finance, is but an element of the larger spectrum, which is referred to as Kitab al-Buyu'. So it would essentially be studied under the chapter of financial transactions. And the idea behind it is that I was telling the students that the presentations on Saturday should be essentially added to the classical fiqh manuals, so that there is a continuation of the fiqh that we study. And people that read the books of Tariq al-Tashri', the history of Islamic legislation, would know that some of the ulama, they speak about the period of stagnation, and they refer to it as Asr al-Jumud. And Asr al-Jumud, or the era of stagnation, essentially creeps in when we read the 25 financial contracts and we do not go beyond that. In essence, those 25 financial contracts were the financial contracts that were prevalent and that were relevant in the 8th and the 7th century when those scholars were writing those contracts. However, we are now living in the 21st century, and those classic manuals of fiqh is definitely required to be updated. So the ulama spoke to the need and the urgency of the time. And I think that the urgency of our time is definitely that as an ummah, we come together and we be a part of this beautiful tradition and contribute productively to the spectrum of Islamic law. And alhamdulillah, I feel that our students at the Madina Institute this Saturday will be a part of the future of Islamic finance. We're also looking forward to having special guests, leading experts of the field of Islamic finance to address our students on Saturday, namely Sheikh Ziad Isaacs, who is currently the directing manager of iConsult here in South Africa, who is a local scholar and an international accredited scholar within the field of Islamic finance. We also have Mufti Ismail Desai, which is the head of the Global Finance Islamic Services here in South Africa as well. And they will be our guests on Saturday, speaking about the future of Islamic finance, namely contracts such as microfinance, Islamic fintech, and all the new trends that are prevalent and relevant to the market, but not stopping at the new contracts that bombards our generation on a daily basis. We seem as we playing. We're always trying to come back and to make up. So there's a backlog of ensuring that we provide relevant legal verdicts that is in the spirit of the Sharia, in the spirit of the Quran and the Sunnah, that we understand the operational mechanisms of these financial contracts before we even dare to give a legal verdict regarding it. As our ulama say that تصور شيء حكم على فرعه, so that the visualization of a particular thing is core and is important in order for you to give a legal ruling about that particular thing. And so we're saying that it shouldn't just stop at studying and knowing these new financial contracts, but also looking at relevant opportunities for our students. So our students in the final year, they will be our first graduates at the Madina Institute. And I think that the future of Islamic finance should definitely be an option for students graduating from this program to walk into financial institutions, to work in the commercial banking institutions, and play relevant roles in providing Sharia consultancy, Sharia advice. And as we know, many financial institutions have Sharia boards today. And I think that in the coming and in the near future, in many of the financial institutions here in South Africa, and more so in the Western Cape, we will be seeing a rise of Islamic boards, Sharia boards, financial services that will be required to be Sharia compliant, and we would definitely require experts and students of knowledge that would be able to provide the relevant advices. And I think this is a very important aspect of our religion that is much neglected within the tradition, as either we are focusing so much on the acts of worship that we forget that there is another spectrum of the religion which perhaps makes up more than 3/4 of the Islamic manuals. And when Allah speaks about وَأَحَلَّ اللَّهُ الْبَيْعَ وَحَرَّمَ الرِّبَا, and we think of the spectrum of fiqh, we're seeing that only a third of it is speaking about the acts of worship, but the rest of it is got to do with our interactions with the next or the other. And this is of utmost importance. When we look at a Islamic manual, we think of it as Kitabul Ibadah. And most of the time, I don't want to generalize and stereotype, I think that we stop at the end of Kitabul Hajj. We stop studying our religion at the end of the chapter of the pilgrimage. And very seldomly do we find that students and even some scholars go beyond the spectrum of Kitabul Ibadah. And so I think this is a starting point definitely for our students and for the future generation to tackle that aspect of our religion, to know that, our religion consists of three aspects. The first of them is definitely Kitabul Ibadah. It's definitely got to do with our interaction and our relationship with our Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala azza wa jal. And I think that the second important element in the fiqh manual is isti'amar al-ard. And the previous Grand Mufti of Egypt referred to it as isti'amar al-ard, which is establishing ourselves within the universe. And this comes from the verse in Surah Hud, وَاسْتَعْمَرَكُمْ فِيهَا. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to establish yourselves within the earth. And the part of the establishment here would be studying the economical situation and understanding it in order for us to establish ourselves as Homo sapiens in the earth that we live. And then the third element that the religion speaks about is tazkiyat al-nufus, which is the purification of the soul. And many a times it seems as if we give prevalence to one of the three aspects that I had mentioned. So it's either isti'amar al-ard, and we seem to prioritize isti'amar al-ard over the concept of ibadat. We seem to prioritize sometimes even tazkiyat nufus over imaratul ard or ibadatullah. So I think that the religion of Islam is an holistic religion that comprises of all three elements. Priority should be given to all three aspects. And so when we are in our ibadat, when we are engaged with our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then it is inevitable for us to ensure that at the core of it is tazkiyat an-nufus. Likewise, when we are engaged in establishing ourselves in the earth, and when we are studying the future, or we are studying Islamic finance, then at the core of it is tazkiyat an-nufus, which is the purification of the soul. And at the core of tazkiyat an-nufus lies ibadat, lies worship. At the core of tazkiyat an-nufus also lies isti'mal al-ard. And I think on Saturday, our BA3 students will definitely be demonstrating that our religion is diverse, and that the future of Islamic finance in South Africa and Cape Town is definitely looking good in relation to the opportunities that are available to our students. So inshallah ta'ala, on Saturday, we will be having our first seminar on the future of Islamic finance. It will be starting at 8:30 a.m. in the morning, and we intend to finish at Dhuhr at 1 p.m. inshallah ta'ala. The seminar will be taking place at the Madina Institute campus, which is in the Icon building in Long Street. And we're looking forward to having many viewers and people to join us. If you're not able to physically join us here at the Icon building on the 3rd floor, then please do join us via the YouTube channel, the Madina YouTube channel, as well as all our social media platforms, whether it be on Facebook, YouTube. Please do not miss this great opportunity. I think that it is definitely one of the most important events for the Madina Institute this year. It is definitely a milestone for the Madina Institute lecturers, the staff, the board members of the Madina Institute, as this would be our first cohorts and students that will be graduating, and it is their final assessment which they shall be presenting on the future of Islamic finance in South Africa. And we also look forward to having our guest speakers, Shaykh Ziyad, as well as Mufti Ismail Desai, present at the seminar, inshallah ta'ala.
MashaAllah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept Fadilat al-Shaykh, and may you have inshallah success in this coming seminar this Saturday. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless your efforts and the efforts of Madina Institute. Allahumma ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Such events are needed, especially in this time where there are lots of questions about Islamic finance and lots of doubtful matters as well that people need to clarify. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you all success during this seminar, inshallah, and that you have more seminars in the coming future, inshallah. Barakallah fikum fadl Shaykh.
Jazakumullah khair, shukran.
Jazakumullah khair al-jazaa. Barakallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. This was Fadilat al-Shaykh Imtiyaaz Isaacs. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from Fadilat al-Shaykh. Jazahumullah khair. And may Allah give them barakah, inshallah, and bless them and grant them success during this coming event, inshallah, which is the seminar about the future of Islamic finance, and is organized by Madina Institute. And this will take place, inshallah, on the 22nd of November. It's on Saturday. This is this coming Saturday, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them tawfiq. Allahumma ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. We're going to be taking a short break. We'll come back after the break, inshallah.